Hello everyone and welcome to another review. To start off, let me apologize by saying ignore the mess in the background. I've actually started spring cleaning a little bit early just because I wanted to do it. I've also got my dry cleaning back there. Ignore the mess in the background. Let's go ahead and focus on the review. So, as you can see from the title, we're actually going to review a fragrance from the house of Rochas, and it's called Rochas Man. Here's the bottle. This fragrance was released a long time ago in 1999. And has been around for a while. It's gotten a lot of accolades. The most notable thing about it is the design of the bottle. You can hear very, different creative interpretations of what it looks like. I believe Robes said it looked like a butt plug. Other people have said that it looks basically something that you stick in your ass. Sorry for the language for the little ones out there, but in a nutshell, that's what it kind of looks like. It just has a funny shape. It just looks like this, pops off, and the fragrance actually sprays. So it's technically kind of sitting upside down, if you will. Anyways, this is the 1.7. It's available in two main sizes, 1.7 and 3.4. The retail price for them, for the 3.4, it's going to be $62. For the 1.7, it's going to be $49. This has been around for a long time. It's much discounted, and for each of those, you can probably get it for half off if you look around. Like, FragranceNet has them for half of the price of what I just told you for the retail. So, check out various discount sites. It probably has them for much cheaper than what you would pay for the actual price for it, right? The parfumé behind this is none other than Maurice Roussel. Many of people know him. He's created Muscat Jour. He's created a lot of scents that he might have actually created New Harlem. I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting the tracking of it. But either way, he's created a lot of scents, very similar. He really specializes in that gourmandy, Swedish type of a scent, and that's what he's really known for. He's actually the nose behind this. So with that, let's go ahead and get into the notes of this fragrance, all right? The notes at the top consist of lavender and bergamot. For our mid, we have jasmine, cedar, lily of the valley, raspberry, and cappuccino. And for our base, we have sandalwood, patchouli, amber, and vanilla. So right off the bat, when I spray this, I get a vanilla amber type of a scent that kind of mixes in and starts to become very sweet. After about, I want to say like 5 minutes is when you start to get, there's a cappuccino note, but I just call it coffee. You start to get a little bit more of a coffee note that kind of comes up and takes a much more prominent stage. In the beginning, you also smell the citrusy bergamot that actually comes from it. I get a little bit of lavender, but my nose isn't really good at picking that up. I do get the citrus, do get the vanilla, the amber, and the patchouli to that note. And like I said, the coffee note really comes up and starts bringing it up in kind of in its own way. As it develops, it turns into really a sugary sweet type of a smell. For those of you who have not smelled this, there are 3 fragrances that this smells like. Michael Jordan Legend, Bond No. 9's New Harlem, and Givenchy Play Intense. Those are the 3 fragrances that this smells like. And when I think about all 3, it smells like them. But I would probably say out of all 3, this and Givenchy Intense have the smoothest type of smell. They're all 3 very similar scents, and I would say that most people, if you smell all 3 of them side by side, you might think that you're smelling the same thing. So they're that close, but they do have differences once you smell them side to side. Slight differences, but differences enough to kind of tell them apart, except for it's a longer story, but either way, the point is that they smell very similar to those scents. Spray-wise, I generally go anywhere between 2 and 3 sprays. I don't like to go heavy on this one just because it is very sweet, and if you go very heavy on it, it might become a little bit cloying, too cloying especially for it. It starts to get a little bit nauseating. If it's too much, basically, it starts to get more nauseating on the nauseous side than smelling good. So that's kind of why I generally try to keep my sprays down. Sometimes I've gone as low as 1 spray. So, yes, so just keep that in mind. But the problem with 1 spray, I'll mention a little bit later. The occasion, I generally treat this as a casual fragrance or a date fragrance. I don't like to wear this to work just because it is so sweet. There's nothing wrong with wearing sweet fragrances to work, but it's just not my style for work, and I tend to think that it's better as a casual fragrance or a date fragrance or going out, on the club type of a fragrance. So take a look at Rochas Man. For season-wise, I think it's better used in the fall and the winter. It is definitely possible you can go ahead and use this in warmer climates. And the reason, and I'll say it like this, and I might as well just mention it right now, what Rochas Man suffers from is what a couple people have noticed, and that is the performance isn't as great as it could be. Even though it starts off real strong, I would say it starts off strong, but after about 4 hours it heads off and kind of becomes a skin scent. So longevity is about, for me at least, around 8 hours, but half of that time is more of a skin scent type of time rather than projecting huge. And it's for that reason that that you can kind of swing it both ways, that this would be better, as good in the spring as it is in the summer, because in the summer, the later hours that it's on your skin prove to be a little bit better, and it starts to fit, just that. It's not too cloying because it's so close to the skin, and the heat is kind of amping it up a little bit, so it does smell great in the summer. But in the winter, it's got the staying power for the beginning of the fragrance, but towards the end of the fragrance, you really can't smell it. So it's kind of got those two sides of the coin, and that really, to me, is the biggest strike for the fragrance. The performance kind of variance is just, it's not as, I guess you could say, good, because I generally like my fragrances where I can wear something for one occasion. Like, I love fragrances that are quick, that don't last that long, but I use them for that purpose. I love fragrances that last long because I use them for that purpose. If you have one that's kind of jumping on the two, then you kind of have to finagle it and make it so that it works for your occasion. And that's kind of why I'm not as big of a fan as this one as I am some other ones. I do think that this actually smells better, or let me get to that a little bit later. Sorry, I don't want to touch on that. But age group, I would say any age group, and I would definitely say if you are a high schooler or someone younger, take a look at this fragrance. It's not expensive, and it's going to, if you like gourmand scents that smell like food, sweet scents, definitely take a look at this, and it's definitely within most people's budget. So I don't want to call it specifically a cheapie, although at this point you could kind of classify it as, but definitely take a look at it. So, as with all fragrances, I take these out to Times Square and I have 100 random people smell it just to see what they would actually think of it. 72 people liked it, 10 people disliked it, and 18 people thought it was in the middle, basically. Of the people who liked it, they said that it was sweet, that it was playful, that it was delicious. Of the people that disliked it, said that it was too sweet, said that it was cloying. Now, again, keep in mind that they only smelled the beginning of the scent. I mean, I can't sit around for 4 hours and have them smell it at what it is afterwards. I mean, yeah, I just didn't include that twice. I guess I could smell or spray it on my skin, but even I don't want to get into it. It's a little bit more of a logistics nightmare. But either way, they were only smelling the top of it, okay? Or something that's within like 15 minutes of actually spraying it. It takes me generally about 15 minutes to do these things, because I'm just quickly asking, what do you think of it? What do you, smell this, like it, dislike it, and what do you think of it? And that literally is a 10-second process for most people, and they just go on their way, right? So if I'm to go ahead and give this scent a rating, I give it a rating of an 8 out of 10. I give it a rating of an 8 out of 10. The price is really what bumps the rating up majorly on this fragrance. Because you can find it for so cheap, I highly recommend it for people who are looking for that, syrupy, sweet, gourmandy-ish type of a scent. And when looking at it, especially if you were to ask me, does this smell like New Harlem? I would say yes, it smells like New Harlem. And if you were to ask me which one, if you're choosing to buy between the two, which one would you get? I would hands down recommend Rochas Man over New Harlem, sheerly for the price difference. Purely with nothing else included, price difference, I don't think the price jump up to New Harlem is anywhere near worth it what it is. And I still think that this actually does smell better than New Harlem. Or I don't want to say smell, but yes, say it smells better than New Harlem. Yes, it does, in my opinion. That said, New Harlem is more consistent. It has better performance, and that's why I like New Harlem overall better than I like Rochas Man. But the smell, I still say for Rochas Man is better, and if you're to choose between two when you don't have the fragrance, I say go with Rochas Man over those. Now if we're talking about a fragrance like Givenchy Play Intense or Michael Jordan Legend, then it's a little bit more even. I'd say, just kind of smell all three, see what floats your boat, but, all three compared against New Harlem, I still have to recommend those three over New Harlem for just the price reason alone. Still, it's a great fragrance if you're looking for gourmands, especially for, a cheaper price within your price range, within your budget range. You're really not getting something that is lesser of quality. It's definitely up there in quality, and for that price, awesome. So if you have any questions whatsoever on this review, please feel free, send me a message, leave me a note, do whatever you gotta do. Thank you, take care of yourselves, and have a great day.